Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Strategic Command World War II War in the Pacific, episode number 7 of my Let's Play series, playing as the Allies. We have begun our counterattack, and as you can see here, we're actually already pretty much done with this turn, but we've begun a successful counterattack so far in China, which has seen the capture of Hong Kong and Canton. Canton being a national morale objective, Hong Kong obviously being, you know, a pretty freaking big deal. We'll see what the Japanese do in response. We do have a little bit of a vulnerable flank here. They do have some armor and mechanized forces up north here that could potentially try to swing in here behind my three armies and one corps that have driven south. My end goal here is probably to drive up the coast toward Pakoi and maybe get in behind Nanning, or north toward Fuzhou and retake that key supply center. Although Japan has apparently unlocked infantry tech level 2, as the 18th Thailand Army has upgraded to that, as well as the 12th Army here. So that may pose a challenge. We're only at level 1. They are now apparently at level 2. To that end, we probably need to research infantry weapons, so we can go ahead and spend 175 MPPs for China on that, but we are way behind on that, so yeah, something we'll have to figure out how to deal with. And China also, what else should they be doing? Probably mobility, I think. You know, we could be using money to do things like upgrade units or reinforce units or things like that. But really, I also frankly need a headquarters unit, which I don't have enough money to buy anymore now that I did that. They're $399. I think we'll keep the 135 in the bank just so we can try and buy another one. Because we're definitely not investing enough in headquarters to kind of give us better supply situations. And then we probably need more artillery as well. I don't actually... Do we have enough for... We don't even have enough... We don't even have the option to deploy artillery. They've got a unit cap there. So that isn't great. But yeah, that's the situation we find ourselves in China. In India, Burma situation, you know, they're threatening India. They've invaded a little bit. They've taken Kohima, but Impal is still in our control, at least for the time being. Any upgrades down here? And meanwhile, we are... These guys got... Have they already upgraded? My air forces are down to strength 2, but it didn't look like... I don't have any money left to upgrade them. But yeah, that's the situation we find ourselves there. And then in the South Pacific, the Japanese are threatening Port Moresby. Hopefully we can hold out there. They do have their fleet, it seems, based around Rabaul. I'm curious to see if that changes, though, because a couple turns ago we took Tarawa from them over here. This turn we took Majuro and Kwajalein. We're going to probably take Roy Namur next turn. And then I'd like to try and threaten any Weetalk, possibly with my carriers. My fleet's sort of based out of the Tarawa and Kwajalein area now. I'm just getting a headquarters unit, a short Kwajalein next turn, so we should get better supply in the general area, but that's where we find ourselves there. Not a lot else to talk about. Probably should do some either research or investments here before we wrap this up. The Americans, we can invest a lot more. Command and control is probably a good thing. Yeah, let's go with another heavy bomber chit, because we've been buying some of that. And then I don't know about armored warfare. That maybe ground attack for my air units when they do attack the ground units, or maybe artillery. We've been going really hard into production technology, logistics, that kind of stuff. Probably naval weaponry also to get our ships to be a little bit better. And we'll do one more long-range aircraft, maybe. I don't know, long-range aircraft seems super valuable in the Pacific, as you would guess, right? We've already invested halfway there. This would just speed it up. Ground attack weapons. Okay. Alright, so we spent 800 points on research this turn for the Americans, but I think it's worthwhile. They need those. I mean, we need this advanced tech. Australia, on the other hand, I mean, if Japan really does have level 2... If Australia really, or if Japan really does have level 2 infantry weapons, we probably need to... We already actually are almost to level 2 for Australia, interestingly enough. Okay, so that's actually good news for the Australian forces there. Probably long-range aircraft could use another chit. And we're not even doing much research here. Do units share? It'd be nice if the Allies could share things across their teams. Okay. And then the British have 292. They badly need more units in India. So I'm inclined to just do an army out that way. Alright. So let's end the turn and let's see what the enemy has in store for us. Japanese morale suffers with the loss of Kwajalein. Their national morale was still above 100 last we checked, but just barely. Allies liberate Hong Kong. The population of the Philippines is largely opposed to the Japanese occupation, and there's great potential for forming large underground resistance movement there. Douglas MacArthur is keen to send weapons and supplies to the Philippines in order to arm partisan units. Yes. Is there any reason not to? Yeah, let's do it. I guess the only reason not to would be to save 40 MPPs per turn. Rommel attacks U.S. forces at the Battle of Kasserine Pass. British Empire develops amphibious warfare level 1. USA develops industrial technology level 3. Yeah, let's get that economy going, boys. Infantry weapon development for Australia level 2. So we can upgrade their units and then possibly start using them in the South Pacific to positive advantage for us. I'm really a little worried about the situation in China. The Japanese have so many units there. They're clearly pouring like their entire economy into it. Maybe that and apparently destroyers, dear God. They're really hammering that US sub here. It moved right onto another trade route, but I'm assuming it's no longer hunting. And then a bunch more. How many destroyers do they have? Good on the sub for hanging around, though. Granted, most of these attackers don't have anti-submarine tech. Alright, so they're going to be bombing Moresby quite a bit with their air forces, I'm guessing. We're going to need to do something about that. We need reinforcements here. They're pounding those special forces troops. And I assume if they attack, they'll succeed. My only hope is that Buna doesn't provide them enough supplies, that they don't have a headquarters unit there in northern New Guinea. They may struggle supply-wise to be able to attack Moresby, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. Right, so air units. I mean, they have so many air units, too. Japan is far better balanced than we are with their unit types. Meanwhile, that army, they're probably going to drive us out of this communist base camp area, I would assume. They just took half the strength of that one unit. They do have level 1 mobility as well, which we do not have. Okay, so they took another 2 out of that unit on the base force hex. We're also attacking a corps to the north. Enemy armor here swinging in kind of behind Hong Kong, trying to maybe cut us off there, although they didn't do much. This light tank unit that's cut off also tried to attack to break out and didn't accomplish anything. Alright, a lot of units moving around. An air unit just arrived in Buna. More ASW stuff, possibly. They found a Dutch sub. chasing down my subs on their supply lines. Guess it makes kind of sense. It's almost like we really need to go and try and attack the fleet near Rabaul, but I don't want to go there. Like, I want them to come after me. 14th Air Force arrives in China. We only have B-17s, I think, right now, with level 2 long-range air. But that is basically the event where we said, hey, we want to bomb China from Japan. Or bomb Japan from China. Except the problem is we don't have aircraft with the range to do it yet. We don't have B-29s yet. Alright, Sussex, a British heavy cruiser, and a U.S. Iowa-class battleship. Yay! Alright, they don't have anything on the coast I can easily bombard with my... And there goes all the British money. So their supply situations aren't great. Granted, mine aren't perfect either. We got a Chinese Special Forces unit here attacking the rear of the 14th Army here in China, in eastern China, or eastern Burma, I believe. I got interceptors. Didn't do any damage there. Really? I can't move them there? I gotta do a force march? I badly need to push supplies forward. Can these guys operate closer to the front? Sort of. They can go there. So that'll give me better supplies up front here. Nice, that tank unit 0 to 3 against that army. Alright, we destroyed a Japanese armored division, or corps, or whatever it might be. Mechanized forces are very vulnerable in this terrain here. Which I guess kind of makes sense, but... They got defensive artillery here. We are having some isolated situations where we have some reasonably good KD ratios here. Alright, this tank is almost out of supplies, so we can attack it now more effectively than before. Move that unit that was almost destroyed back a hex. Move him in behind the enemy lines! If I knew what they had there, I might. What am I upgrading with this? Fortifications? I don't need to... I'm not gonna do that. I don't really want to operate this bomber anywhere. I don't know where I'll move it. just fly it slowly. The enemy has too many fighters here for me to use these bombers effectively anyway. Hopefully we will finish off this enemy light tank next turn. I'm going to guess they'll have no supplies next turn. As long as I don't move anything up from this railroad area toward our front, we should have a chance. I don't think I can really afford to do anything in Burma other than maybe reinforce these guys or whatever. They have anti-aircraft guns? Is that what the upgrade is? Upgrade these guys to infantry weapons level 2! Well, maybe we do something with that. Can these guys reach over here? Theoretically, if I knew their carriers were here, I could make a strike at them. I guess we could try and... No sign of enemy carriers. Okay. Darn. Trying to get this sub out of here before it dies. Same for this British sub. Okay, a lot of rain. So I'll do what you guys suggested. I don't know if they'll... it's probably too far away still. I was going to say, I'll do what you guys suggested where you said, hey, switch the settings on the... Alright, so we'll get 8 supply here. So we'll have a nice anchorage here between Majuro and Kwajalein. Level 8 supply for all of our naval assets here. So that should allow me to keep the fleet largely intact without retreating it back to Pearl. Frankly, I'll probably throw one of those marine units on transport. Can we do it this turn? They've already moved. We can move them here. That cruiser can make room. This is a land and naval hex. I don't think these shipyards are big enough to hold. These ports aren't large enough to hold a large ship yet. They need to be bigger. But the damage is pretty slight on all these ships so far. Use our destroyers as pickets here, screening out any approaching threats. We'll leave them at Funafuti. We already have some... I thought we had some troop transports on the way. We do. They're still a few turns away, but we've got the 4th Marine Division on the way. We'll keep a transport with them. And we've got another U.S. carrier on the way, the Essex. We'll look at bombing Any we talk next turn? Put these guys on amphib transports. Move that air unit. It'll move on to Roar and Namur next turn. We'll get ready to move on any we talk. Central Pacific strategy for the win, I guess. Maybe operate one of these maritime bombers over by our fleet. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. Where did China, Australia? Am I forgetting anything? I guess those subs down by Aussie land. I kind of want to try landing on Guadalcanal. Maybe that's foolish. Especially with the Japanese fleet down here. I guess it probably is. All right. R&D. Can we dump another infantry? No, we can't. I was going to say another infantry weapon for China would be great. Anti-air is probably valuable for China. They've maxed out their R&D spending now. USSR. And USA is not quite maxed out. We can actually spend a bunch more this turn. Naval weapons, we should probably go for 2. We should try and speed that process up. Probably same for fighters. There's enough upside there, although I don't have a lot of them. And then... what does naval construction do again? Supply distribution value of ports. Okay. I don't know. Back-to-back turns of R&D, and that's pretty much it. We're going to be into April as we look to go to any we talk, but it's 43, like, at least in the Central Pacific. We're behind everywhere, with the exception of the Central Pacific, in which case I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. British Empire now has infantry level 2, which should help against Japan. Won't give us an edge because they've got it also, but at least now we can counter that. Although Japan hasn't upgraded most of their infantry to level 2 yet. Part of that's because they have to keep troops on the front line with us, and you can't upgrade a unit that is currently in contact with an enemy. But armor swinging south toward Hubei, which would potentially mean they might make a move to try and get that pocketed armored unit out. But hopefully they won't break through this turn, because I think it'll die next turn if we hold on there. Meanwhile, a lot of air power in India and China. I need more fighters. I've been investing in AA, hoping that'll save me, but yeah, doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe not artillery. Yeah, yeah, such a balanced force. We do not. Our only balance is pretty much units that were built before our game started. Right, so we know they have at least 3 fleet carriers in and around Rabaul as they pound Moresby. It's kind of funny to think about how outgunned the Allies really are in this game right now. Oof. An army just attacked, so they may be driving in toward Impal. Like successfully. Meanwhile, they broke the army on our flank of our main line in northern China. They could make for Liu Yang along this rail line here and threaten this whole front. Alright, well, they pushed our unit here back. I wonder about their ability to supply down there. In Burma. Maybe we can take Nanning this turn? Probably not, but we've got a corps and an army in front of it. The Indian National Army is there. It'd be interesting if we took another national morale objective in southern China, as dicey as the situation is up north. Okay. Massachusetts. Another one of our strategic bomber units arrives, a Chinese corps and a British corps. Let's hold off on figuring out where to deploy those quite yet. Yeah, let's try and go for the mechanized troops over here. Maybe we'll have better success. Yeah, we did. We took heavy casualties, but... Alright, 1 casualty inflicted. Swap. 2 casualties inflicted. 3 casualties inflicted. Did they not withdraw? Really? Well, the first Indian National Army unit was nearly destroyed, but it somehow survived. Well, we didn't destroy it, but we drove back a mechanized corps for the Chinese. Let's see if we can destroy this light tank division or whatever it is. Got it! Good job, boys. Alright. Okay. Move our cavalry into Loyang just to hopefully to delay the enemy advance in that direction. We do have that new unit as well we can deploy. Deploy that here. See if we can trying to keep pushing up the Chinese coast. Maybe both directions. What's the supply situation? Not good. Doesn't help much. I guess I shouldn't have left Hong Kong. Theoretically, they could do a naval landing there. I guess we'll see what happens. We're building an interior line of forts here between Hensong, and we'll move them north toward Xi'an. If they break through in the center. Should have deployed that unit here. These guys have to have bad supply in the interior here, or at least that has to be the hope. New core for the British. Look at all of these air units. Dear God. Maybe by taking La Chaux, we can at least impact their supply line? I don't know. They don't have a lot of good roads there. I wonder if we're going to invade Vietnam from the rear with our garrison unit out of Kunming. Probably won't be able to take Nanning next turn either, because these guys are going to need to stop for a turn for a bit of a breather. Would have been nice to take another national morale objective there, but at least we got the armor. Their national morale is down to 100% now, for what it's worth. None of these guys can attack successfully here. And upgrade our fighters there. At least our supply here in Western Rangoon, or whatever that is, should be okay. Ow. I'm assuming this maritime bomber can't reach the carrier. It can't. Also, there's a lot of enemy fighters between us and them, so wouldn't even really matter if they could, probably. At least these guys, the South Sea Special Forces, their supply is so low, it's going to be hard for them to be very effective. Alright, how's the supply of these guys? Pretty good. Everybody's pretty much at full, or close to it. Eight is good enough, I think. So let's do this. Let's do what everybody said. Set mode to bombers, because I'm pretty sure there's no enemy aircraft around here. Fly close enough to any we talk to drop bombs. Use our cruisers to spot for us. Bombard there, and then drop bombs. Still no real impact. But maybe we can start hurting them a bit. Put a cruiser on the port too. Start hurting the port's ability to resupply him. I don't know if we're hurting the port there with those bombardments or if we're hurting the troops there. Or the industry of the... I suspect we're hurting the industry of the town, not the actual... Be interesting to see if they ever sortie their fleet against us. They sure have a lot of destroyers. Presumably they've got some spare battleships too. Set mode to bombers. At the very least, I would think we're gonna crush their morale. We better hope no enemy air attacks come around either with our guys set to bombers, because you can't switch them back. These planes will be very vulnerable, or these ships will be very vulnerable if we don't. Alright, we do have new units. Do we want to operate anybody into the airfield? I guess we'll wait on that, because we do have the strategic bombers which just arrived, or at least one of them which arrived this turn. So we'll operate them next turn. Meanwhile, the Massachusetts arrived. Let's upgrade the Iowa before we send it out. Reinforce these destroyers, which took some casualties. We could bring this fighter air wing up here. Leave Nauru unoccupied. I don't think it's a national morale objective or anything. These guys might be able to provide some long-range fighter cover for some of these ships. No sign of anything. Probably should have done the destroyer screens, you know, before. I might get myself attacked from truck. Those maritime bombers might actually have the range to hit us from truck. But anyway. British submarine doing a little bit of recon for us. Okay. Is that it for this turn? I'd really like to purchase another unit for China. Let's go with a core. And we'll put it at Umriki when we can. They can't operate out of there either because they don't have a rail line. US still has 500. We've invested a ton in R&D this last turn. Let's do another headquarters unit. Although the US isn't the one that's suffering as much from the lack of headquarters. Once I destroy the fleet, the Australian army would be very useful. But let us see what the next turn holds. Maybe we can take in a wee talk. British developed submarine warfare level 3. If they hadn't any subs. Fighters level 3 for the US could be a game changer. I don't think the Japanese have gone down that route for their fighters. I haven't seen anything that's heavily upgraded fighter-wise. It seems like they've mostly gone down the mobility and infantry weapons route. The situation's developing in such a way that we may need to take action to secure our position here. Oh, come on. Why are you giving me the Japanese thing? Are they going to do it? Are they going to deploy the troops there? I think it's because we've got troops that have... We've pushed some troops in toward Indochina. Alright, that Dutch sub's a little bit more vulnerable because it is a level 1 sub. It hasn't upgraded. At least the enemy carriers have had to divert their focus toward my subs a little bit. Oh no! Yamato! So at least some of the Japanese Navy's coming for us. Our destroyer flotilla, at least, or our destroyer screen, at least, tripped up this carrier here in front of us. Their cruiser apparently made it around and through and just sank a heavy cruiser of ours. Alright, well, it looks like they're deploying a large percentage of their fleet here. They're attacking these destroyers of ours. They certainly still have some of their carriers out toward Truk and Rabaul, though. Okay. Shattered that garrison unit on the Burma Road with their air power. Do we have anti-aircraft weapons with that Special Forces unit? Because they did some damage to the attacking force, interestingly enough. They're attacking our Special Forces unit here in southern India. Mechanized forces just destroyed that core of ours. That air unit just destroyed that core of ours. First Chinese unit wiped out that outside of maybe a garrison unit in a while. Gotta be careful about that. That front could break open pretty quick, I think, if things go right for the Japanese. It's funny, I feel like the Chinese have been the most effective so far against the Japanese. Right, did we get another heavy bomber this turn? We lost a destroyer and a heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser. We get a light carrier and a heavy bomber and a marine unit. So quite a few units deployed this turn for the US. Alright. Let's use the Dutch sub here to... Well, there's the Yamato or whatever it is. And an enemy heavy cruiser. Can these guys even fly right now? They can. Alright, which one is this? This is the Yamato. It'll be a huge national morale penalty to them if we sink it, right? Presumably. Two. Just gotta pray they don't bring their whole carrier fleet against us. Because we need air cover. Alright, I finished it off with a heavy cruiser. 712 national morale bonus. Did they get a penalty for it, for losing it? Alright. So, what's... Another enemy cruiser. No sign of their bombers yet. Or their carriers yet. So this has been an all battleship fight so far. Or heavy surface vessel fight. Alright, so we sank an enemy heavy cruiser now as well. We know there's at least 2 more heavy cruisers. Put our sub in behind him. No sign of anything back that way. No sign of anything here, so it's got to be like in here, right? Did they just send a light carrier task force? Like, I don't... Alright, let's try and swing in behind him and see what we find out. Nothing. So this is not their whole fleet, that's for sure. They've still got a lot of ships over by Rabaul, apparently. Weird to send a task force like they did. Alright, there's the light carrier. We should set mode to... I can't set the mode to mixed because I forgot to switch it before I attacked. We should set these guys to mix. So we've got at least some fighter cover over the fleet. Alright, and we sank the enemy armored, or the heavy cruiser. Did no damage. Holding off on doing the amphibious attack until I can get more units there. And we are going to set this carrier to... I can't set it after moving. Well, at least it's set to fighters, I guess, already. Okay. Just keep hurting their morale with my fighters swooping in over top. Their morale is at 20. So I'll have 3 amphibious attackers next turn. Hey, I've got a battleship down here. Should probably race that out there. Get that out ahead of the carriers. I'm guessing the enemy fleet will pull back. I don't see them charging in. Either they will commit their heavier stuff, their fleet carriers, in which case we do have a few tripwires further south with these subs and destroyers, or they will pull back, would be my assumption. Just trying to do some recon with my maritime bombers. Alright, so we've still got at least 1 fleet carrier south here. Man, those maritime bombers did not fare well. Let's operate... I don't know if the heavy bombers can hit Major from there. It might be out of range. I don't know what the range of these strategic bombers is. Can they not operate into a airfield? I'm confused. I assume the airfield hex meant something, but apparently not. Apparently means nothing. So, okay. It's just flavor text, I guess. Okay. Alright, so maybe this will be like a Coral Sea battle. I don't know. But sinking the Yamato feels good. Their national morale falls to 99. It's interesting that it calls it a national morale bonus when it really... I don't think it is. I think it's a national morale... like... Oh, okay. Penalty for the other guy? Got him. Indian National Army in China destroyed. Nanning is ours. Huzzah for that. Let's see if they try and flank our force here. They might go from Guangzhou into Canton. It is a primary supply. But working our way toward Shantou. Nearly destroyed that corps. They're shifting south, which is interesting. Can we try and just, like, drive deep into the rear and, like, cut China apart? think China's national morale would be a little bit better. Alright, we'll see if we can take Bipeng or Beijing. I doubt it. They'll shift some troops around. I'm sure they've got plenty of fighters here to make this move by us not make a ton of sense. Heavy mountainous terrain, I doubt they can move through it quickly and easily. Upgrade those bombers. We get a 2-2 against their armor. That's, I don't know, maybe worth considering. Yeah. Got a better result than forecast. Okay, so that armored unit is not going to be attacking this turn. So maybe that'll take some pressure off a little bit. Okay. They'll probably hone in on this communist base here, or maybe try and move it and take out our headquarters, which I think probably makes sense to move the headquarters. I assume from a zone of control point of view, they won't be able to get into Taiyuan this turn, but who knows? I can't even move toward Pak-Oith because of supply constraints. I need another headquarters in this area. How can I not attack these Japanese Marines with any semblance of success, despite a considerable advantage in supply? It's kind of tempting to maybe try and push some of our fleet in toward some of these areas. I'm guessing their air power would devastate us, which I guess would make it maybe less tempting. I don't know. It's just because it does feel like they really have gone all out on everything except... Send one American destroyer in on this convoy route. Let's see what happens to it. Probably gets swarmed by Japanese destroyers or something. We know they have a ton of destroyers out here who could pose a threat to our fleet if they decide to. By the way, research-wise, what's the... or not research-wise, reports-wise, what's the naval situation? So the Japanese have 109 land units, dear God. They have 29 naval units, which is interesting. They've invested way heavy on land, less so on navy. But we've been going for an hour now, guys, so I think we'll finish this turn off next time. Until then, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.